I just got back from ITNation Grow in Houston. What a wonderful event. It's early February 2025. I got to speak to 10 great guests at this ITNation Grow as part of Evolve, which are the peer groups, which I was a member of for, oh my goodness, close to 20 years. I was a facilitator for a while in the managed service provider industry. But I was invited to go there. Grow is a particular event in the middle of the Evolve meetings and on the Wednesday, where it talks to MSPs about looking to when they're going to make their exit, if they're going to merge, get acquired, or acquire others. It's quarterly event, but I had 10 great conversations. It started with Cass Lawrence from Blumera. Great conversation with Cass, Brian Hoppy, Kevin Hogsmoser, who I've spoken to before, John Cooper, TJ Jackson was a great conversation with TJ, Tom Hermstad, great conversation. I first time I spoke to Tom. Harden Byers, my goodness, I've known Harden for 15 years. I haven't seen him. He was back. They're putting the band back together. I had a great conversation with Harden, Nick Recker, MSP, Blue Alliance. Never spoken to Nick before. Great conversation. Sean Brown, my friend for many, many years. He's got an exciting new consulting firm along with his MSP that keeps growing. And Dr. Larry Little. I had the great pleasure of knowing Larry for 15 years. Haven't seen him for, my goodness, 5-6 years. And we caught up and we caught everything on camera. It was a great conversation. So I want to thank all those guests. I want to thank Arlen Sorensen for inviting me, Matthew Lavender, Scott Scroggin, and all of ConnectWise. Just a wonderful event. One of the breakouts at the Grow event. Had my two very good friends, Brian O'Shaughnessy and Rob Bruce, talking to the group via Teams, via virtual, about their merger, which is a great event. Proud and glad to be part of it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz, and here's my 45-second introduction. After starting my business in the 90s, I started developing poor habits of eating in my diet because of working way too much. I found myself at 340 pounds. The doctor told me if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. I took the next 7 months, lost 130 pounds. People ask me, how'd you do it? What's the secret? I need to lose weight. How'd you do it? How did I lose the weight? Just one word: discipline. I've had other successes in life, and I attribute them all to discipline. Now, I'm not the king of discipline, but I believe that it can help all of us. Friends convinced me to start a podcast. The podcast mission: how do we better ourselves and society? I talk to interesting people in health, fitness, sport, wellness, business, technology, science, art, and culture. And I eventually asked them how discipline plays a role in their life. Podcast vision: growth through learning from others.
So, when did you discover surfing?
Oh, I've surfed my whole life.
Really?
Yeah. So since I was like, I don't know, 8.
Describe that. I've never been, I've done in the nothing what you're.
Most people who surf,
a little closer.
Most people who surf will, if they can stand up and
Right,
get up,
that's
they'll be
the
like,
problem.
it's the most amazing feeling I've ever had in my whole life. It's super hard. You know, there's so much variation. There's so much going on different. The wave is moving, the wind, the board's doing stuff, you're doing stuff. So it's one of those sports where you're just in the moment. There is no thinking about, I'm not like, I wonder what's going to happen on that managed services client. If you think about that, you're going to fall, right?
You just got to go automatic.
Yeah, you're in the moment.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you want to connect with business leaders and engage consumers who take action? The Joey Pinz podcast delivers high-impact conversations to an audience of decision makers, entrepreneurs, and professionals across multiple industries. A fast-growing audience of highly engaged listeners, both B2B and B2C. Millions of listens and views across YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Brands that sponsor us see real engagement, conversations, and brand loyalty. Whether you're looking to sell a service, promote a product, or establish thought leadership, our sponsorships offer premium ad placements, exclusive episode sponsorships, full season branding, and event partnerships. Don't just advertise, become part of the conversation. Visit us at joeypinz.com/sponsor to get started, or email us at sales@joeypinz.com. Joey Pinz Podcast, where thought leaders, brands connect.
And fishing, you just love you got to be around water.
Well, I'm in Southern California.
Yeah.
So that's one of the main reasons I live in SoCal.
Seal Beach.
Seal Beach.
I never heard of Seal
Good.
Beach.
That's a good thing. People in Newport Beach, which is 10 miles away, I'll say I'm from Seal Beach, and they're like, where's Seal Beach again? And I'm like, exactly. No problem. Yeah. I don't know where it is. Yeah. We call it Mayberry by the Sea.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So
cool.
not a lot of tourists.
No, there's a decent amount of tourists, but there's a lot of people it's only 47,000 or 50,000 people. And we're kind of unique in that we have a Navy munitions base that's a big part of Seal Beach.
Really?
And it's also a national wildlife refuge. So there's no way for Seal Beach to grow. Because that'll never get developed, and it's this gigantic property that's at the south end of Seal Beach. So,
and that's part of its attraction.
Yes, there's no growth. Literally zero growth.
Wow.
Unless you knock a house down and build a new house, that's it.
And you've always been Southern California.
I've always been, except for school. I went to Berkeley. So I was in Northern California for a bunch of years. But other than that, I was in Huntington Beach, which is just south of Seal Beach, for as short a period of time as possible. And as soon as I had enough money, I bought a house in Seal Beach.
Did you really?
Because I was born and raised in Seal Beach. Wow. So I've been in Seal Beach for 60 years. Wow. Probably 58 years.
And the fishing you're doing is offshore as well?
Yes. I have a boat, Boston Whaler, greatest boat ever.
Boston Whaler.
The unsinkable legend.
Really?
Yeah. That's their tagline.
Is it really?
Yeah. Love to fish, fish. I have two other really close friends that also have boats. So we do what's called buddy boating. We'll go out at the same time and then, talk to each other via satellite and stuff and figure out where the fish are and then call each other in to the fish. So,
and how can you tell? Does she have sonar now?
Oh yeah. You have amazing electronics and I did all my own electronics because that's kind of my thing.
Interesting.
Being a techie. And, it's, the technology is amazing now.
Is it really?
As it is in so many different things.
And were birds, is that one thing?
You can watch for birds. There's a whole bunch of different signs that you look for. We have special binoculars that are called gyro binoculars, and they're geostabilized so that you can look while the boat's moving.
Oh my goodness.
And it keeps what you see just perfectly still.
But you can't look in the water with those.
Yes, you look at the water.
It goes through the water?
No, it doesn't go through the water. Okay. You're looking on the surface.
On the surface, yes.
For birds, maybe. But, you want to see a bird a few miles away. You can't see that with the naked eye.
Of course you can. And what are you fishing for?
Lots. One of my favorite is bluefin tuna. So large bluefin tuna. So tuna
can you eat that right away?
Oh, yeah. You can eat it right on the deck.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's the best sushi ever. Yeah.
Describe that. So you pull it up and you start eating it?
Yeah, it'll you fish for bluefin. They're one of the most finicky fish, so they're super hard to catch.
Really?
So you'll probably go 5 or 6 trips, and you might catch one of those trips. You might catch tuna. So it's very frustrating, but when you catch one, and then it's the greatest thing ever. But we fish up to big fish, 250, 300 pound bluefin tuna.
And what do you use to bait tuna?
There's so many different things. You can tow artificials behind the boat in a special spread, they call it. You're trolling at that point. Then there's bait that you can use. And we use a balloon flying fish combo. So the balloon goes out and the flying fish goes below the balloon and goes like this on the top of the water and looks like a real flying fish.
Whoa.
And then when the tuna takes it, it has a clip and it goes off the clip on the balloon and you reel in really hard and then you're on the fish. Yeah. And watching your bait and watching a tuna blow up on a bait, that's almost as good as surfing.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And how far is it from you? Are we talking hundreds of feet?
It can be, but I've had fish strike when I'm bringing the thing in maybe 30 feet off the back of the boat.
Amazing.
A 300-pound fish coming completely out of the water and taking the bait and then running.
What do you do with a
surreal.
300-pound fish?
You have a lot of friends. Yeah. Yeah, you have a lot of friends.
Doesn't
you
have
give it
people
to.
on shore ready to buy stuff?
No, you can't. As a private boater, you're not allowed to sell the fish. Yeah, you just have to give it away.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Nice problem to have.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah. And other than tuna, what else is there?
Oh, we have Southern California bite, they call it, is the most amazing fishery.
Really?
We have unbelievable, just crazy number of fish, but we have wahoo, we have yellowtail, which is kind of in like, there's yellowtail over the world. Like in Australia, they call them kingfish. They're one of the, I always say, if there was a 100-pound yellowtail, you would not go in the water.
Really?
They're the meanest.
Are they really?
They're the toughest, meanest, strongest fish. They're just usually in the 15 to 20 pound, 15 to 20 pound range. But I caught a 35-pounder last summer, and that was probably one of my favorite fish to catch.
Really?
Even more favorite than a bluefin tuna.
And the tastiest?
They're both good. Yellowtail is called hamachi in Japanese. So when you have sashimi, hamachi is a great one. Yeah. And bluefin has two. Bluefin has bluefin and it has toro. The belly, the fat belly on the tuna is called toro, and that's my favorite part of the tuna.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you, as a kid, you were fishing, you were surfing, you were doing all this.
Yes. My dad was a big waterman, or still is a big waterman. So I fished and dove. My dad was a diving instructor, so I would go to diving classes and just dive all the time. We surfed all the time together. My dad was a water polo and swimming coach. I played water polo and swim. Up until a few years ago, that was my other big love, is playing water polo. Yeah.
Could you possibly be away from the? We're here in Houston.
Can't be. I'm like kind of shaky a little bit. No, I like mountains too. My wife loves to horseback ride and stuff like that, and I love to fly fish. So I do a lot of
very different fishing, right?
Yeah,
in the streams,
very different.
Yes.
Although we fly fish in the saltwater as well.
Do you
for
really?
bluefin tuna? I have not caught a bluefin tuna on a fly, but people have, and it's a pretty amazing thing. We have special fly fishing gear just for that.
And is it just like in the stream where you're whipping it all the time?
Yeah,
and,
you cast
casting it. Yeah. Water polo. I only watched it in the Olympics. I'm sure because it's the only time.
Great sport.
Yeah. You're just treading the whole time.
Yeah, it's one of the most physically demanding sports. The only thing I think is soccer. Except for in soccer, you're always moving pretty much all the time, but you can breathe.
Right.
For a large amount of the time when you're working really hard in water polo and swimming, you're not allowed to breathe.
Unbelievable.
So think about running on the treadmill as hard as you can and not being able to breathe for an extended period of time. That's the difference on water polo. And then there is truly no resting, because in soccer they blow the whistle, you can stop for a second, stand, right?
Yes.
In water polo, you can't touch the side or touch anything.
You can't.
No, that's against the rules. So, so you're basically doing something, treading water the entire game.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's great sport though.
It's a great
Wonderful.
sport.
I played at Berkeley. We won a national championship at NC2A national championship at Cal. Wow. Very fortunate to get to do that. I played in a community college early on and played for my dad. My dad was my coach because he was a community college coach at still the most successful community college water polo program in the nation.
Wow.
And it was, those years were pretty classic. But let's just switch it over to computers.
Please, how'd you get there?
So I've always worked in technology management. So I've always managed systems, at Berkeley, there was a store called Biding Your Time, BYTEING, and we rented time on Macintoshes. And we had what's called a linotype, which is it was a printer that allows you to do camera-ready art. And so I ran that for the owner, and we would rent time, and I was managing a network at that time. Wow. It was Apple Talk. It was 9600 baud. So that's 8. You're gonna date me that far back?
Well, I'm older than you.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm 60.
50 to 7. Okay.
So that would be 80.
Yeah, late 80s.
Yeah, late 80s. Yeah. 88.
Yeah.
87.
Apple Talk is
Yeah. And then I also was really into Unix. because Berkeley, that's the birthplace of the
it was
kernel.
created there,
And so I managed the labs for the teacher. Again, Macs, because at that time Apple was hitting all of the universities hard with building labs for them and stuff. And at that time, the internet was pretty brand new, just barely starting. ARPANET was kind of Berkeley's, connection to the beginnings of the internet. It was, and a lot of ARPANET, I think, was developed. The ideas behind it was developed at Cal. Wow. So that was what I did, and I transitioned, and I graduated. I still played water polo for a bunch of years on the national team after college.
Wow.
And then I transitioned into a business, and it was really interesting. It was a family, a guy that played water polo for my dad at Golden West. Had a financial services company. They actually had 4 different companies, and we had one IT department, and we would get paid by one of the companies, but we would bill our time to the other companies.
Wow.
It was like the first MSP.
And what year is this around?
That was 91.
Whoa.
Yes. So it only took me to like 93. And the light went off, and I'm like, if this works here, I bet this could work on the outside world. So there's another guy in Southern California named Ole Thornenson, and he runs a company called Alvaca Networks. They're mostly an enterprise MSP and also a big incident response firm. They're a partner of ours. He's the only older MSP in Southern California than I am. He's 31 years, and I'm 30.
Unbelievable.
And so I decided to start the business. I pitched the former player of my dad, who was the president of the company, that I wanted to take their IT, and he was gracious, and he's like, that sounds like a great idea. I want to help you start your business. And so we started with a bunch of companies right out of the gate.
Your brand deserves to be in front of the right audience decision makers, entrepreneurs, and professionals who are ready to take action. That's exactly who listens to the Joey Pinz podcast. Thousands of engaged business leaders and consumers tune in every week. Millions of views and listens across YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Sponsors see real impact, higher engagement, brand trust, and conversations. We offer strategic partnerships tailored to your goals, including targeted ad placements, branded guest appearances, multi-episode and event sponsorships. Make your brand part of the conversation. Let's grow together. Visit joeypinz.com/sponsor to explore sponsorship opportunities, or email us at sales@joeypinz.com. The Joey Pinz podcast, where brands and thought leaders connect.
So you had clients right away.
We had like 5 clients right off the bat.
And this is when now?
That was 94, 95.
And so we have...
This is my 30th year this year.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I started my MSP in 93.
Okay.
And I can remember those certain... Y2K was really the big kind of hope.
Oh yeah, Y2K.
What was that like in Southern California?
It was crazy. It was just the world was going to come to an end.
Everything's going to stop.
The sky was falling.
Nothing happened.
Yes, and absolutely. And everyone paid a lot of money getting ready for it, and nothing actually ever took place.
Yeah. And did you do any acquisitions? How did you grow?
It's been all organic.
Wow.
I mean, at the beginning, we have two kids. My son is our marketing manager.
Wow.
And when we had 2 kids, my wife's a director in television. So we both had major careers as the kids were growing up. So hers was part-time and mine wasn't part-time, but I would make it part-time to coach and take care of the kids and stuff. So that was the formative years of the business, were more what everyone around Evolve calls like a lifestyle business. Than I didn't know what EBITDA or a profit and loss or a balance sheet even was at that point. It was all how much is in the checking account.
Yeah, that's really what it was. Yeah, cash business back then. And when did you make the move to managed services?
We always did from the very beginning.
Because of that one.
I never did break fix.
Wow.
We never had break fix clients. It was always fixed cost.
Amazing.
Yeah, 90 and 94, 95. We started off, I think the original contract for those companies was about $10,000 a month.
Wow.
And so that was our starter. And then we never were, everyone, you were in at that time. There's tons of VARs that kind of did break fix a little bit and stuff. Yeah. We were always a managed service. We didn't call it then. I called it IT outsourcing.
That's right. Yeah. We called it network support, and I did a little programming too. Whatever paid the bills back then.
Well, we were Unix and Mac at the beginning.
It's amazing.
SCO Unix, SCO Unix.
Yes.
You remember SCO?
Yes.
And that was that was phenomenal. Like the uptime, we would like look at servers that were 1,000 days and hadn't been rebooted, you know, and we're like, maybe we should reboot it just for
right.
fun.
Why not? Yeah.
But when the whole Gates thing came around, right? He's the second coming. He's on Time Magazine and everything.
Sure was.
You could not sell a Unix Mac solution anymore. Everyone wanted Windows 3.1 and NT 4.0. And it was the worst thing ever. We sold stuff to clients and told them this is a mistake. Wow. And then they fired us because it didn't work and it was a mistake, you know. And I said, I told you that this wasn't a good, oh, we don't care. It was your fault. You sold it to us.
And they just wanted it because of the hype.
The hype. Yep.
But eventually you moved to small business server. Did you ever?
We did small business server. That was a boondoggle as well, right? I mean,
it wasn't what they promised.
No, it was not a good operating system. But you know, it continued to get better. And, you know, I always, people ask me like, well, Bill Gates, he was the most amazing visionary. Sorta, but for me, Steve Ballmer, the whole idea in Genesis for 365 and Azure was Steve Ballmer's brainchild. And he also oversaw Windows 98.
Around there.
The debacle of 98, right? Was it 98 or what was the really bad one?
Was it me or was it, XP?
What was after? No, not XP. XP was a kind of bulletproof.
Yeah, that was solid. Yeah. Vista.
Windows Vista.
Vista was a big bomb.
That might have been Ballmer.
That was bomb.
But I give him credit for just 365 and Azure, which is pretty amazing ecosystem.
It's where they derive a lot of their. So when I heard this today. I heard that the advice somebody gives MSPs these days is 3. 1 is to join a peer group. 2 is to get a business operating system, whatever it may be. And 3rd is to hire a coach. What do you think of those?
I think that's great. I've been in, before I was in Evolve, I was in Vistage.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's a business
Sure
peer advisory, you know, outsourced board model with a leader that's your coach as well. So I did that for 15 years before I joined Evolve last year. So I totally believe in coaching. Peer advisory, again, Vistage and Evolve, I've been in that.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. And what was the third one?
Business operating system.
Yes, EOS, and we're implementing EOS right now.
You are?
Yeah, we're about a year in, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard
really
to look back after moving to something like that, isn't it? Yeah.
The whole having a meeting and then forgetting about what you did in the meeting and then having another meeting and repeating that, and it's just like, oh, it's so frustrating.
Yes.
And with the EOS system, you're like,
it doesn't happen.
This is exactly what I did last time. And now we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And we're implementing Streddy, I think it's called.
Yes, that's the software platform.
Yeah, to help with the EOS, because I'm a systems guy. I love systems.
Yes, yeah.
And so we're implementing Streddy right now. And one more piece of software if we didn't have enough.
Another platform, we got another SaaS app. So when I talk to MSPs, 3 things keep them up at night. I wonder how this rings true with you. First is cybersecurity. They're worried about their clients getting attacked. Second is this human capital. How are they going to replace a great tech if they leave? How am I going to get new? And then third is just general growth. We're here. We see that many MSPs struggle with organic or inorganic growth. What are your thoughts on those 3?
Inorganic growth. I drink the Robin Robbins Kool-Aid. We use their system for the last 2 years. It's working well. A lot of the first couple of years with, for 28 years, no real marketing, no sales, other than me meeting somebody and saying what we do, and they're saying they wanted to work with us. So to build the systems for the underpinnings or the foundation for marketing has been a very big challenge. My son has done a great job with that. But we continue. That's an evolving thing. But we're committed. I'm gonna, I want to have that engine that's kicking off a couple of strong multi-$1,000 a month accounts every month.
Good.
That's my vision. That's my goal.
Yeah, organic growth is tough. Cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity does keep me up at night. I mean, talk about a game changer. It used to be you worried about a server crashing, and now you worry about some whatter coming and attacking one of your clients and causing exfiltrating or ransomwaring or whatever. So I'd say in the last 5-6 years, it's become way more stressful to be an MSP than it ever was. I mean, just having cyber insurance, right?
Right.
I mean, my cyber insurance costs a lot of money. And they threaten to cancel you every year.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So.
Now the fires didn't affect you. That's too north.
Well, I had one of my best friends is a State Farm agent. He had 35 of his clients lose their houses. So a lot of people I know, my wife's, director, like I said, and she's up in Hollywood and that Pacific Palisades and those areas. She had like 5 or 6 people. She knows well that their houses burned down. So
Terrible.
it was a true tragedy.
It sure is.
True
My
tragedy.
daughter's in Los Angeles. She wasn't affected, but it is. So we're here in Houston, Tom, right? It's HT. No, I keep on saying HTG.
That's it. I know what it is.
ConnectWise, Evolve,
Right.
Grow is here. What are some of your goals here? Why are you here?
The whole reason we joined Evolve, really, I had the peer group experience with Vistage, right? So that is important to me. I love, being and talking with other people who know. It's just so much fun to do that. But financial acumen, financial excellence, that's really what it's about. The SLI, the Sleek, the budgeting tool, those are the things that really, I'm building a business I tell my employees this, I'm building a business to sell. That doesn't mean I'm selling the business, but a well-run, if someone wants to come in and buy your business, that means you're running a good business, right? So that's why I joined Evolve is to build and my financial acumen was admittedly very, minimalistic, but I have a fractional CFO now, and we're revitalizing and changing the whole thing. Interesting to do this much change at 60 years old.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's
Well, you
exciting.
don't look 60, by the way.
Oh, thank
you. Don't
you.
act
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when we got Service Leadership Index, one of the big things that rocked our world at the MSP is that I saw the margin at which people were selling equipment. And it was, they're making 20, 30%, and I was only making 4 or 5%.
Right.
And going back to my team saying, this is what everybody else is doing. And like, well, we're going to get a lot of pushback. We got like one pushback.
Right.
And, that's made us so much. You mentioned SLI.
Right.
I mean, just that realization was paid incredible dividends for us.
It's a little humbling to look at some of those BIC numbers.
Oh, the best in class. Yeah, the BIC.
That I even know what BIC is.
Yes.
Is a little bit of a revelation.
Yeah.
It's an eye opener. But it's super challenging to know. Oh, this is if we tune this a little bit, we're going to get this. If we tune this a little bit, let's get this. So that's super exciting.
Yeah. Has there been anything in the last month or so, Tom, that you changed your mind on?
Anything that I changed my mind on in the last month? I thought that there would be a lot more upheaval after the election, and there has. So I don't know if I changed my mind, but
surprised.
I was a little surprised. I thought it was going to be totally. I mean, not that he hasn't done some crazy stuff,
right?
But
we're all here. Everybody's the sun's still coming out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're still MSPs. We're still trying to keep people
safe. We're all breathing.
And I guess the other thing that you were going back to Evolve is my passion is cyber, and my passion is on the right of boom.
The right of boom. So that means after it happens.
After it happens, because I have a couple different sayings in the business. One is trust yet verify. As an MSP, of course, we're going to be trusted by our clients, but it's incumbent upon us to show them what it means to verify that we're doing the job to keep them safe and to keep them, resilient. And the second one is it's not if, it's when. And you can spend all the money you want on your perimeter, from super duper CrowdStrike down to whatever it is. But if they want to get through and it's a 0-day exploit, they're going to get through. So you better prepare for the eventuality of getting hit. DR plans, instant response plans, your backups being totally immutable and really understanding them. So we really have just changed our whole focus to ride a boom. When it happens, you want H&D on your side type of deal. And so my thing is, I'm kind of an evangelist of that, and I speak at different things. I'm in Provisors, for instance, and I talk a lot at Provisors about it. But just it's not about getting clients only. I mean, of course, we love to get new clients, but it's spreading the word. I hate the fact that we spent $12.5 billion in 2023 on ransomware payments. $12.5 billion it's crazy. It's not right. I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit, but I kind of consider the whole thing of these overseas hackers, it's an act of war. They're attacking the United States
Why
of America.
not look at it that way?
It is. I mean, it is. And I want to help. I want to help. You know, we're helping America one business at a time.
Yeah.
And I tell the guys, and my guys are like, "Come on, Tom." I'm like, "Really? Isn't that what we're doing?" You know, every business we get resilient is one that is not going to get taken to the cleaners by these you-know-whaters across, right?
Yeah,
So,
a lot of Eastern European. You know, I had the chance to talk to somebody at Trend Micro, and they were telling me that he was from an Eastern European country, and he was saying a lot of these hackers are resentful of Americans because they get great jobs and they should be getting that.
Right.
So they almost feel justified in the attack.
Yeah.
You're not as good as me. Look how good I should have that job, and I'm gonna,
I'm going to show you. Yeah.
It's fascinating that they can justify it.
But it's fascinating but terrible.
Terrible.
Right.
Horrible, in fact. Yeah. Started my MSP in the 90s. Time I was working 14, 16-hour days. You're no stranger to this at all. Was not paying attention to my physical self. I'm sitting in front of the doctor. She tells me I'm 340 pounds. If I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. So scare the life out of me, right? How did I let this happen? Driving home, outraged. So I spent the next 6-7 months, lost 130 pounds, kept it off. People always ask me how.
You look great.
I appreciate that. Not as good as you, but people always ask me how. Like there's some secret. I say discipline. That's how. I got routine, motivation. How does discipline play a role in your lifetime?
Discipline. I totally agree with you. Like a key word. Like if you were like, okay, give me a word that really resonates for life. Discipline would be definitely one of the words. I think as an athlete, I was not the most talented athlete, physically not the most talented. Did I work harder than everybody else? Right. Was I disciplined in my approach to my game? Yes. And even the guys that I played with, that know me the best, they'd say, no, you did not have the best arm.
Right.
You were not the biggest. In fact, I'm 6'1", 225. My position when I was playing it is called a center. And most of the guys that played my position were at least 6'4", 6'5", 240, 250.
Wow.
And so I was like way undersized to play the position that I played. So if I wasn't better physically, in shape better physically, and that's all discipline.
Wow.
And then surfing takes massive discipline too.
Sure does.
Yeah. So diving, being safe, and not shortcutting your safety is discipline. Being a good dad, discipline. So I don't know.
And your father was a world-class, coach, and was it kind of instilled as a youth discipline? Yeah.
Heck yeah. I mean, as a coach, that's one of the most important things is discipline to things. And I didn't even say, but my dad was also, for many years, the best water polo referee in the world.
Wow.
He refereed in 5 Olympics.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I got to grow up in international water polo. He would take me on trips with him and stuff like that. I would jump in the water with the Yugoslavians and the Russians and the U.S. national team. When I was like 8 years old, I was throwing the ball around with Olympians. So I had the greatest childhood growing up. It was pretty
And the
special.
referee isn't in the pool.
No, the referee's outside. But when my dad refereed, there was only one referee. Can you imagine one referee watching all those guys and under the water?
I'm in the far corner.
Yeah. Now there are 2.
Yeah, one on each side.
One on each side, yeah. Wow. Yeah, you watched the Olympics.
Yeah,
Did you like it in the
I
Olympics?
love it. I love watching water polo.
Yeah,
I watch fencing. I watch all these things. I just don't have it. Is there a league?
Fencing's wonderful.
Is there a league? Is there a water polo league?
Oh yeah. There's like I said, I played Masters water polo.
That's right, yeah.
and I could play right now. There's 50, 60-year-old Masters water polo.
Of course.
Yeah.
And the injuries. What injuries happen? I mean, it's swimming.
You don't get injured a lot. You get your shoulder injuries, lots of cuts in water polo. Getting hit by an elbow or a fist or something in the face. So a lot of eyebrow cuts, a lot of chin cuts, nose cuts, stuff like that.
But like in basketball, where you can come down a rebound and twist your ankle, all that stuff. Yeah, that doesn't happen.
Not a lot of injuries in water polo, and repetitive injuries like swimming, especially. People get shoulder problems and stuff like that. But still, you can rehab that, and it's not like a blown out shoulder or blown out knee or something like that. That's really rare. I hurt myself playing basketball at Cal more than I did
Isn't that
playing water
something?
polo.
Yeah.
Looking for a powerful way to reach business leaders and engage consumers? The Joey Pinz podcast connects brands like yours with an audience that listens, engages, and takes action. High impact exposure with a fast growing loyal audience. Millions of views and listens across major platforms. Sponsors see increased brand awareness, trust, and conversations. We make sponsorships simple and effective with custom ad placements that fit your brand, deep audience engagement through authentic conversations, long-term exposure across podcast platforms and social media. Don't miss the opportunity to connect with your ideal customers. Visit joeypins.com/sponsor to secure your sponsorship today. Or you can email us at sales@joeypins.com. The Joey Pinz podcast, where conversations drive results.
What motivates you, Tom?
The ride of boom and making sure people are prepared, this heavy motivator. I just totally believe in that as a mantra that needs to be. I wish everybody would talk about that preparation piece as much as people talk about the defending and the perimeter. I think you also that getting ready for it is not as talked about, and I think it should be. I mean, there's a whole thing, ride a boom, right?
Yeah, there's an event. Yeah. There's a whole phrase. Yeah.
So what was it? What else?
Motivation,
just to take care of my people that work for me. That's a big thing. That they have a great place to work. That we live by. We have a culture brochure. We don't have like values. We have culture, which is statements about how we act and how we behave and everything like that we're really proud of. And living, and are we really living the culture brochure that we call it the way, the Mandalorian. This is the way. That's the culture
is our way.
This is the way.
Yeah. So given that motivation, how do you measure success?
Taking care of my people. I mean, if they're happy and they're employed and stuff, that's always been one of my big drivers. But now, being able to be successful on a financial front against the peers, and knowing by looking at Sleek and SLI that, hey, I can do that too. I can run a successful operational business and I can run a successful financial business. So that definitely drives me as well.
Good for you. Real inspiring.
Yeah. Thank you.
Tom, thanks so much for your time. Anybody listening or watching and they want to get in touch with you, how can they do so?
Tom H at hdtech.com. And www.hdtech.com is our web address. And I'm on Tom Hermstad on all the social media.
On all social and LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Tom, thanks so much for your time. Safe trip back. You
Great
can't
time.
wait to get back to that water.
I know. I can't wait.
Thank you.
Joey.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypins.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations.